Yo, 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 welcome to the Pitch Report. I'm Mario.
And I'm Amilcar.
And in today's episode, we will be covering San Diego FC versus Austin. And we'll also be talking about the international break, Nations League. And we'll also tee up the next episode where we'll be facing LAFC. How are you today, Amilcar?
I'm doing good, man. Had a great weekend. Watched a lot of March Madness, a lot of sports in general, I feel like.
How's your bracket doing so far?
Not doing great. I guess I'll have to take back my self-proclaimed champion of picks here. But at least for soccer, I still reclaim it, I guess. How about you?
My picks have been, on the show, have been really bad. But March Madness, I'm actually first place in my bracket, which I'm also, it's the same bracket that Amilcar's in. And I'm actually looking right now. Ooh. Daddy-O's picks. I'm not calling him Daddy-O. That's his bracket's name. Is 8th place out of 11.
What can I say? It's just not my cup of tea to be doing the basketball brackets.
I mean, you're still in it by max points. You can still win, and we both have Duke as well. So yeah, we'll see how
it's a lot less predictable. I feel like March Madness is just than basketball in general, and then also just a lot of other sports. Honestly.
Yeah. I also feel like this year there's been less upsets than years before.
Yeah, which is I think it's the whole NIL thing, you know.
Oh yeah.
The big teams can pay the big money, so they get all the better players. So there's a lot less parity than there was before.
Oh, there might be a story there. I hadn't thought about that though. That's a good point.
Yeah. Hey, heard it here first. But I guess regarding the games that we watched part of the STFC game together, which is great on Sunday. It was a daytime game against Austin, which unfortunately we didn't come out on the winning end of this one, but I think there was a lot of potential learnings and insights that we can take away from it. But what do you think about it?
Yes, unfortunately the undefeated comes to an end, so I think we can sadly add another first to the team. Our first away loss. Hopefully we'll never have a first home loss. Hopefully we'll never lose a game at home. So we are down to one undefeated San Diego team, and that's a Wave, who won 3-2 this weekend. So shout out Wave.
Well, on the Padres, don't forget.
Well, they haven't played technically yet.
So they're technically undefeated.
Yeah. Oh, okay. I meant like teams that are in season, but yes, I agree. And opening day also, shout out Padres, Thursday against the Braves. But on to it is a soccer podcast, so on to the soccer game. I think the absences that we had really showed, especially at the beginning of the game. I think we just really couldn't get our what's it called, our footing. And you really saw it, and unfortunately it was 20 minutes that basically in a way had us out of the game. So yeah, it was a matter of time. I guess we were going to lose eventually, and going into this game, I thought this could look like one that we lost, and it ended up going that way.
Yeah, and the absence he's talking about was Paddy McNair was up, got called up to Northern Ireland, and then Anibal Godoy also got called up to Panama, which we'll talk about that in a little bit. And then Chucky Lozano's still injured, but although week to week, so hopefully he'll be a guy that comes back, sooner rather than later. Hopefully this weekend because it's another big game. And then Ingvartsen is out for this. I think it said 7 to 10 weeks. So he's out for the near future, which is a little bit frustrating because I feel like we never really got used to playing with him, and then now we're not playing with him for a while, and he's going to come back later. So that'll be interesting.
Yeah, and with Chucky Lozano, I wonder how many weeks you can say week to week before they should have just been it's going to be 4 weeks, it's going to be 5 weeks. Because week to week makes me think oh, you'll be back maybe tomorrow, or maybe the day after. But now it's been 2 or 3 weeks that they've said week to week. So, and I don't want them to rush by any means. I'm just curious.
Yeah, I wonder if it's just trying to get the other teams off of their off the groove of maybe he'll play, maybe he won't. So they'll have to prep for him, but also prep for him not playing. So maybe try to do that to throw him off their game a little bit. But yeah, I mean, hopefully he comes back. I will say that wasn't an area that I saw them struggling as much. I mean, I think the thing we've talked about ad nauseum is the final ball, right? That's just what we've been struggling with. And you could see that a lot towards the end of the game. They had a lot of opportunities, but just like the last ball was just not there. The big concern was the defense, like defensive lapses, which having Anibal Godoy and McNair out, we could say that that's part of it. But they were doing what I think most teams are going to try to do against SDFC, which is just they play with like a high press, a high line, so they're just running in behind. That once they get that through ball, there's no one there. It's one-on-one with the goalie. We saw they had probably 3, maybe 4 of those opportunities in the first 20 minutes, and they scored 2 of them. So, like you said, it kind of put them out of the game, but thankfully, I feel like they kind of stuck with it, and then they got the one goal back from who was it? Luca Del Torre.
Oh yeah, Luca Del Torre.
Luca Del Torre.
Yeah.
So some San Diego pride during that game, right?
Actually, 2 out of San Diego pride on both sides of the ball. Actually, 2 out of the 3 goals were scored by San Diego natives. We had, as you mentioned, Luca Del Torre, and then we had Brandon Vasquez, not only from San Diego but from Chula Vista, both of our hometown. So honestly, if we were gonna lose and someone was gonna score against us, I'm glad it was Brandon. It was good to see him get a goal. I think he's a hopeful for the World Cup, and he didn't get called up for the Nations League, which we'll talk about later on. So I was glad that he showed up and scored some goals, or a goal. Kind of showed the U.S. national team what they were missing, and literally they were missing more goals. So I'm happy for him. But just to close out, like on the defense part, when the game started, Ian Pitcher, I think it is. Pilcher? Yeah. And Chris McAvee, it just seemed like they were getting a lot of balls on the counter, and they were getting through them really quickly. And I thought, like, after the first goal, it looked like this could have been, like, after the second goal, I was like, is this going to be like a 4-5-0 type of game? And yes, luckily they figured it out, and they were able to make some changes in substitutions, but just like in how they were playing, that we stayed in the game, but it didn't necessarily feel like it was a game that we could have won. And I felt like at that point we were looking to get a tie at best.
Yeah, I mean, I think that the second half, once we got that goal back, in the second half they played just totally different. Yeah, and they played like that attacking game that we've been kind of talking about for a while. But it's just the finishing, and it's just like, how long can you talk about like the lack of finishing before you realize, like, is it the chemistry, like is it the personnel we have, or is it just like early season rust? Like what do we think is the issue here? You know what I mean?
I think part of it's chemistry. We haven't had like a consistent starting team, and in a way we've been able to win games except for today or yesterday's game, and even then we stayed in it. Because possession, we still kept possession most of the game. So I feel like that identity stayed. But I don't know. Maybe it's like just a North American thing. I feel like a lot of teams are struggling to get goal scorers. So I'm not sure what the solution might be in terms of getting the goals. And I said I wouldn't talk more about the defense, but another thing we had mentioned that we had Patty McNair and Anibal Godoy out. They were both captains for the team, so I was like proud to see that. I was like, oh, that's really cool. Like both of our players were captains for their respective teams. Anibal Godoy like played lights out for Panama, and Patty McNair, they got a draw against Switzerland, and then they're playing Sweden, I believe, tomorrow or the day after. So it was nice. I just felt pride for 2 players that I otherwise would have like thought nothing about. Just seeing them like, oh, cool, like San Diego FC guys. So I thought that was nice.
Yeah, no, I thought about that too when they were captains. I was like, okay, cool. They're like the best players on the respective teams, so that's always refreshing. Yeah. But yeah, I think that the takeaway now is just going to be like, obviously it's the first loss. How are they going to bounce back? They have another tough game coming up ahead with LAFC, who I believe they lost 1-0 to Austin the week prior. So you venture to say, well, like it seems like we're going to be pretty even. Like the match is going to be pretty even there. I agree. So trying to see how they're going to respond after the first loss. Like what can they learn from kind of this game? How big do you think this next match is to like kind of regain momentum? Both we talked about like the Southern California rivalry, but also just coming off of a loss. How big of a game do you think this is, or like maybe like a must win?
I think it's huge, especially we're trying to still make sure our identity against our regional potential rivals. We beat LA Galaxy, who unfortunately for them are not as good this season so far as we thought they might have been coming off a championship season. I think with LAFC, they're more our equals in terms of current record and current results that they've had, even with like Austin FC. Nothing against LA Galaxy, but I think it'll be very important. I think if we can be a little more solid in the defense and finish, like you mentioned, we could be able to get a good result.
Yeah, I think a lot of people have caught on to Andres Dreyer. Like every time he touches the ball inside the box, he's like 2-3 guys around him every single time.
Yeah.
So it's rough when he's kind of the only guy that's really like pushing forward and stuff. I will say though, Luca Del Toro, I think he was played really, really amazing. I think the entire time, kind of like an unsung hero. I think he just does a lot of like the dirty work and just like continues going. So that's also like something refreshing to see. So hopefully once we get back up and healthy, and once we can really see what playing with Chucky is like. I mean, at the end of the day, like we mentioned, he's like the star player, the best player that they have. Maybe he's the one that solves the finishing issues, right? Granted, we had a little bit of them in the beginning, but I think that could be attributed to just a brand new team, you know, the jitters and all that stuff. But hopefully he can solve that stuff and then play off of Dreyer, and Tomas Angel and all those other guys up front, because I think they have a ton of opportunities, which is going to be nice for him to come back to. You know, I think there's a lot of good chemistry.
Yeah, and right now due to injuries or international breaks, we actually played a lot of really young guys. Like Tomas Angel's like 22, 23. So it might just be also a matter of them getting a little bit more comfortable, like getting a start and just getting more playing time. So hopefully they'll blossom into the potential that they have.
Speaking of international break, why do you think that MLS hasn't adopted the same format that like all other leagues do, where they take a break, let their players go on international duty, and then resume the season like they do in every other country?
Why do we have yards? Why do we have miles? I think just because we're the U.S., we're America, and just to make it different. I'm not sure. I think part of it might be the schedule with other like bigger leagues in the U.S., like NFL. Like a lot of our MLS teams play in stadiums that they share with like football teams. So I think that could be an element of it, just getting like access to the stadiums at the same time. But honestly, I'm not sure. I think it would make it more exciting. I will say I felt a little bit strange this weekend not being able to watch like Premier League and like some of the other like leagues I like to watch. But it was nice that we still had like San Diego playing. But yeah, it was a little. It would be nice to align with everyone else because, that's my point for now.
Yeah, I think we don't align because we don't play the same times, right? So like that's something I think I've heard rumors about them trying to potentially move towards. But then also I think maybe it's something that hasn't really been an issue, you know, up until maybe the last 5 years, because for the most part they weren't generally a ton of international players or like that play for their respective teams maybe in the MLS, other than maybe American players. But as the league grows and gets bigger, you have more and more of, I mean, I just can't imagine like Inter Miami, half their team is probably like going to be gone, you know? So it's like, how competitive is a match against that team when they have half of their team gone?
Yeah, I think Inter Miami had 6 players out on international duty, and there's 2 other teams that had 5. I think Philadelphia might have been one, and someone else. I think it's also like what we're used to, like in the United States, like the most popular leagues are usually the only big or by far the biggest league in that respective sport. I'm talking NBA, I'm talking NFL. No one really plays. I don't know if there's like a American style football league other than like the 2 we have in the US.
Yeah.
Which was hockey even.
MLB.
Yeah, MLB, exactly. So a lot of other leagues in other countries, like I'm just not aware of like the teams or how they play. So when MLS was developed, I don't think it necessarily, this is like the first sport where we're usually not the biggest in. Mm-hmm. And I mean that respectfully too, just because we've had time to develop a lot of the other leagues. Soccer, we're trying to be like better. So I think we've never really had to trade with other teams that often. Mm-hmm. So we've been more self-reliant in that regard.
Yeah, kind of do whatever we want, and everyone has to kind of accustom to what we do. But now it's like, okay, well, we probably need to get on the same page as everyone else. So,
Yeah.
I mean, hopefully it comes sooner than later, because I think that's going to be a big, something necessary, I guess I should say, for them to make that jump to be one of the top leagues.
Totally. Like, we had Chucky Lozano, but he was still playing, like, with PSV because our league hadn't started. And, like, there's, like, those weird breaks. I think in the future, too, if we want to maybe play in a Champions League or Europa League, which I know it's a European league right now, but as things evolve, it would be like nice to be able to like align the summer transfer window or like the transfer window in like January. It'd be cool to like have MLS already be playing, so you know like, hey, this is what we need, this is what we like want to get before like those transfer window close, like in Europe.
Yeah, and I think one thing that I'm sure we'll talk about in a later podcast is going to be the Club World Cup. I think that'll be the first time that we can really put some of these teams to the test, because I know we have the like Champions League, but for the Americas. Yeah. So that one obviously does put the teams to the test with all the Americas, but having the European teams come out here and see really how competitive they are, that might end up putting a lot of these teams on the map. Not just that, but then also having all these European teams come to the U.S. and see how different soccer is in the U.S. now, might entice some of these high-end players to come out to the U.S., and join the MLS if they even had an inkling of doing so before.
Yeah, and maybe show like you still have competitive soccer and it's not just like a retirement league.
Mm-hmm.
I was looking at an analysis of like the top 10 soccer leagues in the world, and I think the MLS was number 10, and I believe the English Championship was higher than Major League Soccer. No, actually, okay. Major League Soccer was 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 9, and then the English Championship was 10. And it was, I think it was like less than a percentage point that was separating them. It was like a fraction of a percentage point. So it just shows like how competitive like Premier League is. If your second tier is essentially as good as like the soccer we're watching now.
Yeah, I mean another like interesting like point, which maybe for a later podcast, is just like comparing the MLS like Liga MX and seeing like how close they are or how far apart they are, and who has a more competitive league, who's drawing more attention. So I think that we can save that one for a different time. But speaking of the game that we have coming up, the LAFC, we're gonna be tailgating this game, so very excited about that. So if you all are out in the parking lots of Snapdragon, we'll be there enjoying ourselves. We're going to get there pretty early, so come by and say hi.
Yeah, we'll hopefully be playing some games of various varieties, so come join us, come say hi, send us a message. We're at pitch report underscore pitch report, so it'd be lovely to meet you people.
Yeah, and then so like we're talking a little bit about the international break, right, Mario? And I think congratulations are in order here. And I know the feeling must be a weird feeling, right, Mario? Mexico won the Nations League.
Sorry, where are you from again? I'm
backhanded compliment, I guess.
Okay.
Right?
Oh, sorry, I'm not from Spain. But I will accept your backhanded compliment. Yes, Mexico did win the first UEFA Nations League. It was nice. I got to say, I think Mexico might be going through their toughest time in international soccer in a really long time, if not ever. So I'll take it. I think it shows a sign of progress. I don't think Mexico dominated any of the games, but they were better. And they say it's better to be lucky than good sometimes. And in many cases, Mexico got lucky. They got lucky with the penalty that they didn't call against them when they were playing Canada, and then they got lucky with the mistake from Panama where they basically gave away a penalty where they won the game because of that. So yeah, I'm happy to see Mexico win a trophy. I think it's something that we needed, and I think it's a good stepping stone in the right direction.
Yeah, absolutely. So I think we were referring to the CONCACAF Nations League. So Mexico won that one. The semifinals were this week on Thursday, so Mexico beat Canada 2-0, which that's a great win. Honestly, I would venture to say that's probably a more significant win than maybe the one against Panama. Nothing against Panama, but Canada's a super solid team and also has been just really, really improved a lot in the last 3-4 years.
Yeah, they have really young, really fast players. The way Jonathan David's been playing, we've seen him in Champions League, just got eliminated, but he's had a great form this year. So, yeah, I agree. I thought maybe Canada would have been my favorite to win it. But I was also very impressed with Panama. They did really good jobs. They played the U.S. well. They knew, okay, they also had a lot of injuries. We're talking about how San Diego had a lot of absences. Panama had a lot of absences, and they made it to the final, and they were in the game. Honestly, if they don't give away a penalty at the end, this could have gone to overtime, and they could have done what they did against the U.S., where they get one shot on goal, and they win it very last minute. So this is a team that's really improved a lot, and, like, my respect to them, and I really, really hope that they have a good World Cup qualifier. Mexico, Canada, and the U.S. are already qualified automatically. So I hope that Panama can be a fourth team from CONCACAF to join us. So I wish them the best.
Yeah, so, I mean, that was a great game. And then being Panama 2-1, U.S., rough tournament. They lost 1-0 to Panama, and then lost 2-1 to Canada. Yeah. So a couple questions for you, Mario, on this one, actually. Do you think this is a turning point for Mexico? Do you think what are your opinions, both as a fanatic and then both as someone as unbiased as you can try to be? Do you think this is a turning point? Because I know that they started both Jimenez's, which was something they hadn't done before, right? And that was kind of a turning point that allowed them to really work up forward, right?
Yeah. I think it's definitely a step in the right direction. For a long time, any given game, it felt like Mexico could lose to anyone. And CONCACAF is not known for having the strongest competition, and they were losing against teams that they had no business losing against. So, yes, this is a really important step with the World Cup a little bit over a year away. It was nice to see Raúl Jiménez, who's arguably in some of the best form he's ever been, maybe slightly not as good as he was before he got injured back in 2020. And then Santi Jimenez, who's a rising star in the national team and who's already had pretty good success in Europe. It was nice seeing both of them playing. I feel like it's like the guy with the person that's going to be the guy in years to come. So hopefully, and also Raúl Jimenez is going to be 35 next World Cup. Oh, wow. So I hope he can keep his form. He's been playing really well, but he might not be all there, not the way he is right now. So I'm glad Santi Jimenez is getting more exposure. I want to change over to Europe. I see the UEFA Nations League games, and it's just a whole nother level. So from where we need to be to seriously compete against these European teams, it still seems kind of far away, because both Panama and Canada, there were times where they were better than us. Canada more so, I think, but still, like, we're going to play way tougher teams in the World Cup than what we experienced here. And it might just be a good reflection of where CONCACAF is in general. It's just not quite at the level that a lot of European leagues are. And you even see it with the United States. You see the roster, and it's basically all Americans playing in Europe. Yeah. And the promise of that team for the past 4 or 5 years has been, this is a team that's going to really take the next step, really go deep in a World Cup. And we just haven't seen it. I think the pieces are most likely there. We'll see if in a year they can get them to all click and start working at their full potential. I will say a bright spot was Diego Luna, who we saw against Real Salt Lake. He was really, really good. And I hope I'm not sounding mean, but he does not look like an athletic person, and he just was really good.
Yeah, I know you were mentioning that when SCFC played against them. You're like, who is this guy, man? He does not look like a soccer player. Yeah. He just looks like some random guy just off the streets, and then you see him play, you're like, whoa, okay.
Yeah, so he's pretty good. Why.
But yeah, I mean, I guess that shifts it over to the U.S. Like, I don't know, Pochettino was like heard saying or like had said that this team 5 to 10 years are going to win a World Cup, and then right before these matches, and then they come out and do this. It's like, what are we doing here?
Might be closer to 10.
Yeah, right.
Than the 5.
10 or more. But like you said, on paper, this is probably arguably the best team that they've put on the field, like name-wise, that they've ever had. You know, like we say, like, you know, teams playing for really good teams in Europe, playing Champions League football, all that stuff. And then they come out and, for lack of better words, like lay an egg for both these games, which is like supposed to be showing them promise on what they're going to look in the World Cup, right?
Yeah, and I think something we've been led to believe is that playing in Europe equals success, and when you have a lot of players in Europe, that's when you're going to compete with like the better national teams, which tend to be in Europe, excluding like Argentina, Brazil, and Uruguay. And sometimes it takes a little more than that. I think it takes getting regular playing time, having a little bit more grit, a little bit more character, which sometimes we haven't seen with these players. I even used to think with Mexico too, like once we have European players, we're going to compete at a better level and get better results. No, that hasn't happened. We've still lost. We're looking for the quinto partido. We lose in the round of 16 at the World Cup, every single World Cup. And we even took a step back in 2022 where we didn't make it out of the group stage. So now I've kind of lost like the illusion that Europe means success, at least for like Mexico and maybe even the US. I think there's something to be said to having cohesion as your team and playing well. Like the 2006 World Cup team from Mexico was mostly players from Liga MX, and the 2022 World Cup team was a better mix of like European talent, and you got a better result in 2006, and you lost to Argentina with a golazo from Maxi Rodriguez. So you actually almost made it to the next round. So I'm happy that the team we see right now, it's a good mix of both, and it seems like they're coming back to their own ways.
I mean, as you can tell, Mario is not passionate and has not thought about this ever. So, but all to say, congratulations to Mexico. I think they played a really awesome tournament. Whether they were like you said, whether they played the best the entire time, doesn't matter at the end of the day. You know, they won, and they played against some good teams, and they took home the trophy. So I think hopefully this is like turns the tide. You know what I mean? And then hopefully these Mexico-U.S. games are super competitive again, like they were years ago. You know, we start seeing some really awesome games.
Yeah, talking about awesome games. UEFA Champions. No, wait. Wow. We got CONCACAF Nations League. UEFA Nations League. Yes. Wow, we had some really good games. We'll start with your homeland, Amilcar.
Yeah.
España versus. I'm blanking on everything right now.
Netherlands.
Yes, Netherlands.
Yes. Yeah, Spain versus Netherlands. It was a great game. Honestly, I don't know that there was one game on the docket for the UEFA Nations League that was not just super intense, really great game. This one is still the quarterfinals, so they're not quite at the end of it like CONCACAF was. So these were still 2-leg games, one in each country they played. I think it was same thing. I think it was Thursday, Saturday, or something along those lines, Thursday, Sundays. Spain, Netherlands, super competitive game. I think biggest takeaway here is Spain has a great team, really young, going to be great for a long time. But the bigger takeaway, I think, is Netherlands is on the up and up.
Yes.
Which I was surprised to see.
Yes, I agree. But everything you're saying, one, like, Amilcar, how are you not, like, smirking, like, right now, thinking, like, this is our Spain team? How old are they? Yes, you guys have – I would think you can only get better, honestly. Like, at this point, you guys have, like, you're going to have, like, a 14-year-old playing or something. You have, like, there's 12-year-olds in Spain right now that might be playing in the next World Cup. Not next year's, but the one after. Like, the amount of, like, young talent Spain has, I'm going to say I'm jealous.
But, yeah, no, that was a good game. The Spain tied 2-2 the first match in Holland, and then they tied 1-1 in was it 3-3?
3-3, yeah.
3-3. So it was 5-5 aggregate. Then they went all the way to penalties, and then Spain won it on penalties. Another penalty game, which was also a really intense game, was the France-Croatia game. Croatia won the first one 2-0. France played, honestly, a poor performance from France. Came back, won 2-0, and we were literally just watching highlights again, and they could have had 3, 4, 5 goals. They were playing lights out the second match.
Yeah, there's some of the, like, best athletes I've seen, like the French team. They're just so insanely talented that even when they don't play well, they're like, okay, we got to win. Like, and then they just decide to win once, like, they've had enough. But yes, so insanely talented. Where Spain is also very talented, but I see more cohesion and they play better as a team. But individually, I see the France team and I'm like, wow, like they're something else. And I'm going back to Spain, Netherlands, but also I agree with you. Netherlands might make a really deep run in the World Cup.
Yeah, you have like Xavi Simons and stuff like that. They have really, really solid teams. But France is the one team that I think the entire world is scared of. They're just so stacked. It's just ridiculous.
Are you though? Like Spain, France, like it might be the final. We'll see.
No, it's the next match. Next round.
It's semifinal.
Yeah.
Are you actually scared? Like what do you think is gonna happen?
I don't know, man. I think when you look at the front line of France, I mean, I don't think there's a weak point on that team. Like even the defensive line is super solid. Goalie we were just talking about was super solid. The midfield's great. The attacking front, the front four, like I don't know that there's a better front four.
Yeah.
The amount of speed that they have, everything like that. So, the one thing with France is I feel like they're a little older, like, and that's not saying a lot for Spain because Spain, I mean, the average age is probably like 21, maybe 22, which is super young. So they've played some time together. You think of like Mbappe, he's super young, but he's played in 2 World Cups, World Cup finals, UEFA Cups, like he's playing in a ton of already huge matches. So he almost gives you the tenure of a player that's going to be soon close to retirement, with how many games he's played, but he's still super young.
He had kind of a similar profile as Lamine Yamal, I would say. And he's played the big games. He scored the big goals. So very similar. And I would say Lamine Yamal looks, to me, technically a little bit of a better player. I think Mbappe, though, just has like crazy speed. Yeah,
I mean, they're both really solid players. And maybe we'll be saying the same thing about him 10 years from now when he's 26 and you're like, dude, or like 27 and you're like, this guy's played in so many big games, and all that stuff. And then we'll be talking about the Spain team there, but it's going to be competitive. I'm very excited that the teams are this well. And I think this Nations League, like most people like don't care about it, but like if we didn't have this, they'd be just friendlies, right? It'd just be a bunch of friendlies and half the team, they'd be just bringing in random players, trying to test players out, giving people breaks. But like there's something on the line here, whether people care about it a ton or not. Like I think that the players really care about it. And you can tell by when they were winning like these penalty kickoffs, people were going crazy and going off. And a lot of people try to say it doesn't matter, but you can see it on the pitch. It really does matter to them to win.
Yeah, absolutely. So one side of that semifinal draw is Spain, France, and then the other one is Germany, Portugal. I'm really excited about Portugal just because for me, Cristiano Ronaldo's like a childhood hero, which is crazy. He's been playing that long.
Crazy for you to say that.
Hey, he played at Manchester United.
Oh, fair enough.
And for me, it'd be really cool to see him win a World Cup. Second to Mexico, of course. But they are also looking really good.
Yeah, I think I was telling you like before this that I think this is the best team that they've had. I think this is better than the Deco, Figo, young Ronaldo, Pepe, all those guys. Like I think they have an even more talented team now than they've ever had. So if they're going to win the European Cup or if they're going to win the World Cup, in the next 5-10 is a stretch, but like the next 5-ish years is like I think when it's going to happen, if it's ever going to happen for them.
Yeah, well, I hope it's next one just because I want to see Ronaldo win it. But yeah, I think they definitely have a chance within the next 5 years.
Yeah, and I mean the Germany, Italy, we'll just touch on that one really quick. I hate to say it, but I think they're just not at the same level as these other teams that we're talking about, the France, Spain, Netherlands, Portugal. Italy and Germany. I mean, the game was crazy to watch. It was 3-0 and then in the first half, and then Italy came back and made it 3-3. So it was very competitive, but I think they're on the lower end of these great teams, which is saying a lot, honestly.
Yeah, I think you hit the nail right on the head there. Very good teams, but yeah, not quite at the same level as like the other 3 that we just talked about. Italy hasn't made the World Cup in the last 2 iterations of it, so hopefully they can qualify.
Yeah, hopefully they make it in there, man. But, I mean, we have plenty of time to wait until the next round. The next round's not till June.
I'm getting excited for the World Cup already.
Yeah. And so June 4th is going to be the semifinal and then the final. So there's like 3 more months till that. But this definitely gave me World Cup vibes, like the competitiveness of this. So I'm super excited to continue seeing the Nations League.
And is there any Nations League team not in the semifinals that you're interested in, or you think it might have a deep run in the World Cup?
I mean, I guess a team in Europe that'll have a deep run. I mean, this is a pretty solid team
I was thinking
here.
England.
Oh, I guess that's a good point. Yeah, I mean, they're just a very frustrating team to follow because like we were saying about France, like on paper they're like stacked, like they have one of the better teams too, but then they just can't get it together. And hopefully Thomas Tuchel, like bringing him in is like the missing piece, and that's what they needed. But I mean, that one's gonna be tough.
Yeah, they were like a surprise in 2018 when they were like, oh, what? Like they made it to the semifinals, and they're like, we were supposed to be good, but not like this soon. It was 2022 when we thought we'd be better, and they made it to the quarters because they had to play France, of course. And now, yeah, I wonder if now they missed the bus. But yeah, I agree. They still have a lot of really good talent. So we'll see. That's another team I really like and would love to see them go far.
Yeah, so I'm curious how that'll end up looking out. But so yeah, for in terms of SDFC, just to kind of round things up, they're playing against LAFC. Plays Saturday. We'll be at the game tailgating, so very excited about that. And actually, I do have a pitch of the week this week, Mario.
Oh, okay.
I know. Who am I? I don't know.
What is it?
So my pitch of the week is Jose Angel Cordoba, which is the guy from Panama that stuck his hand out when the ball was going out and literally not even remotely close to the goal and gave Mexico the penalty. Like, what was he thinking?
I don't know. I even tried to like recreate the movement. Like I stood up and I was like running in that same direction. I'm like, why would my arm be out there? I don't know if he was maybe like tripping. It didn't look like he tripped because he didn't fall.
Yeah.
But yeah, that was strange. I mean, I'm thankful for it, but yeah, that was strange.
I know. It was like, what, 99th minute? The game was basically going to extra time, and here you go.
Yeah.
Nice gift. But yeah, that's the pitch of the week. I just think that was just mind blowing.
Yeah.
Like, and the fact that there was a handball, but the ball was literally like probably 2 feet away from being out. Like, it was on its way out of the back line. So
yeah, it was like easier for the ball not to hit him than to like hit his hand. Yeah.
So that's it for us today. Anything else you want to say to take us away, Mario?
I had a pitch of the week, but it's not even about soccer. But it's just, like if you ever watched movie trailers, and they'll show movie trailer starts now. Like they'll show like name of the movie and then trailer starts now. I'm like, I already know I'm about to watch a trailer. Why do you need to intro a 2-minute trailer? Why are you spending 10 seconds like introing it? So
it's like stating the obvious.
Yeah, I guess so. Which I do a lot in the podcast. So,
man, all right, that's a good one. Hey, so we had 2 pitches of the week this week. Wow. All right, maybe I'll bring one next week. Let's see. You'll have to tune in next time to hear our amazing, great, hilarious takes with not the most obvious takes. All right, so we'll see you next week.
See you next time.